Hello, and welcome to another episode of A Noob's Guide. Today, we're going to be talking about the build and team strategy I used to beat Glassway Nightfall on Grandmaster difficulty. First, let's talk about the Nightfall itself. The Glassway Nightfall is not easy. The first part is a slow push through fallen enemies, which on its own is not too bad. You will probably never wipe doing this first half, as long as you're being careful. One thing I learned is that during the encounter where the boss is throwing dust-filled grenades at you, it's important to have a sniper resistance mod on. Without sniper resistance, I was getting one shot out of a healing rift even with high resilience by the boss and his snipes. The second half is when it gets hard. The boss fight is waves of champions and wyverns. The trick here is you need to not damage the baby Hydra even though it pushes you hard, because if you damage it, more champions will spawn. So the strategy is to blind and freeze the baby Hydra until you kill the current wave of champions and then damage the baby Hydra to start the next wave. Now let's talk about weapon strategy. One person is running Anti-Barrier Scout, Divinity, and a rocket launcher. We use Divinity instead of hand cannons for the overload stun because Divinity can stun instantly. It might be tempting to use a heavy grenade launcher instead of a rocket launcher so you can use Breach and Clear, but we found that the rocket launcher is much better at the instantaneous damage that is necessary to take out the champions and wyverns before they kill you. This was my weapon loadout for the Nightfall and will be featured in this video. The next person runs Anarchy, Blinding Grenades, and another Anti-Barrier Scout Rifle. This person could run a hand cannon or whatever other weapon they prefer for killing ads if they don't like a scout rifle. This person's job is to keep the baby Hydra blinded and also trigger Breach and Clear on champions and bosses. The third person is a bit of a wild card, but we found that it's most effective if they use Wither Horde to help with ad control, and also a heavy rocket launcher to help with the instantaneous damage needed for killing champions and wyverns. For my runs, we had this person also use Anti-Barrier Scout Primary, but as before, any ad clear primary weapon would probably work. My fire team had an Ursa Titan to generate orbs and keep us safe throughout the Nightfall. We also had a Well Warlock in addition to a Stasis Warlock. The combo we would do is have the Ursa Titan put up a shield whenever we had a wave of enemies pushing, and then, as soon as their shield was breaking, the Well Warlock would drop the well to keep us alive as we cleaned up the remaining enemies. My job as the Stasis Warlock was to keep a constant stream of turrets up to help keep the ad waves under control. Now that we've talked about the strategy, let's take a look at my build. I'm using a Demolitionist Nightwatch for my Scout Rifle primary, and then an auto-loading Cluster Bomb rocket launcher, in addition to Divinity. Originally I wanted a Vorpal rocket launcher to help with champions, but unfortunately I don't have one, so I was stuck with picking between Cluster Bomb and some other not as good perks. What I discovered during the Nightfall is that I was mostly using my rocket launcher on wyverns, since when the champions were pushing, I had Divinity out. Since the wyverns are only red bars, Vorpal would not have kicked in, but Cluster Bomb did a great job of also clearing any other ads that might have been near the wyvern when I was firing. And if I got lucky, I did some collateral damage to the other nearby wyverns as well. In total, I think Cluster might actually be better than Vorpal, at least for whoever's running Divinity. Now, let's take a look at the armor. I'm using Eye of Another World as my exotic because I want the ability regeneration buffs to help get my stasis turrets up even faster. You might see other builds pick Verity's Brow, but in my experience, the benefits of the holistic ability regeneration boost from Eye of Another World are much nicer than focusing only on grenade regeneration. This is particularly true when you are not running Breach and Clear on your class item, since it means you can run double bomber mods on your class item and use your rift to recharge your grenade energy. On my helmet, I have double trace rifle ammo finder mods to help ensure I always have Divinity ammo, which is important since I'm the only person on the fire team with overload stunning weapons. My build also uses 4 copies of the Firepower mod. As long as we have an Ursa Titan producing a constant stream of orbs, I'm able to throw almost unlimited amounts of stasis turrets with the 4 stacks of Firepower. I was able to frequently keep 3 or even 4 stasis turrets up for the entire Nightfall. On my arms, I have a recovery mod to help get my recovery up to tier 10. If you're a Warlock and you aren't running tier 10 recovery, you are hurting yourself and your team since you're not able to cast rifts as frequently. I also slot an Anti-Barrier Scout Rifle to use with my Nightwatch. And finally, there is a throwaway mod slot here where I just stick a Scout Rifle loader. Nightwatch has a perfectly reasonable reload speed, but there wasn't any other mods that seemed useful for me on my arms. I don't like running fastball since I don't run it on all builds, and having it on sometimes just makes it difficult to calibrate how far I need to aim to throw my grenades. On my chest, I have a Discipline mod to help get my grenade recharge rate to tier 10. Then I have both a Sniper Resistance mod and a Concussive Resistance mod. The Sniper Resistance mod is basically required for the strike. As I mentioned earlier, in the Duskfield throwing boss encounter, the boss can snipe you even if you have high enough resistance to tank a Vandal sniper shot. When I wasn't running Sniper Resistance, it made this boss fight practically impossible because even when I was standing in a healing rift with overshields, I would still get instant killed out of it. Ideally, I would have a Void Resistance for the final slot to help in the boss fight, but since I wanted to run another copy of Firepower on my chest piece, I settled for Concussive Resistance. My boots have another Discipline mod to help with grenade recharge. Then I have Traction, which is a mod I always keep on the boots. Finally, I have Absolution, which works great when you have an Ursa Titan on the fire team who is providing a constant stream of orbs. Unsurprisingly, I fill up my boots with yet another firepower mod. Finally, let's take a look at the class item. To finish my tier 10 discipline, I have a final discipline mod, and then I run double bomber mods. Double bomber means I can use my rift to recharge my grenade, and in the Nightfall, I would often cast the rift just to get grenade energy even when I didn't need the health. I round out the class item by adding in a taking charge mod to get charged with light whenever the Ursa or the Well produce orbs. This Nightfall is brutal. Trying to beat it took me many tries and experimenting with different builds. To be successful, everybody in the team needs to be playing perfectly. I'll have more build videos coming soon. I currently have several different builds for my Warlock right now, and I want to make sure I document all of them so I have a record for my future self to look back on. So expect more build videos in the near future.
Well done. Round 3. You have match point. Win this. Took the lead. Only 1 minute left. Enemies almost won. Equal one. Seconds. You killed them more than they killed you. That's all I ask. But keep it in the crucible, please. You continue to prove that the best gunfights happen in the crucible.